this her way summit, and we had so many amazing speakers, and I just had to bring Angelica Robison back. She was one of our speakers on, I believe it was the Friday evening part of our summit. We had a 2-day summit back in October. Once again, I am Sacha Walton. I'm your host and founder of This Her Way. And because it's January, it's a new year, and she is a lifestyle coach. She's all about self-care, self-love, and ensuring that you're having this balance with the people that you're, in your lives, people that you work with in your business, and help you to stay afloat in that balance. And, Angelica, welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much, Miss Sasha Walton. I'm so excited to be here with you and share with everybody, all these great ways to just get yourself in line and get yourself ready to go so you can step into the new year feeling invigorated and with so much love to share for the rest of the year.
So amazing, so amazing.
Yeah,
But before we get into everything that you're doing, with the people you serve and just all the great things you're doing in this world, just tell the people a little bit about who is Angelica Robison.
absolutely. Well, I like to start with my family. I have three beautiful girls, and they're now in college. Two of them, and one in high school. And it's just, and I've got my beautiful, supportive, ex-spouse, the father of their children, and he's just amazing. But sometimes things just don't work out. But that doesn't mean that you can't, step into a space of love and make it work, right? So I'm just super excited because the reason I stepped into this was to show people, things that I had learned throughout the 20 plus years of marriage, of in my life, through different workshops and different things where I felt I had gained some real knowledge on how to show my love and express it and accept it. And it was not always easy, but I did receive that from people in different ways. And so I felt like when I spoke to other friends and family about it, they were like, "Oh, I didn't see it that way. Oh, I didn't know that." And so when I started, when COVID happened and this whole stuff, came about, I really wanted to show people like how to hold their relationships and how to not just in their families, but in their business and in their life and within themselves. And I went in and did a lot of work for myself as well. So I felt like I had a lot to bring to the table to show people how to work through a separation, through a divorce, through a marriage, through being a mom, through being a sister, like all the things. And that I think happens over your lifetime. And so while I'm not done living yet, um, I'm excited to share with people how to step out of a space of chaos and maybe sadness or anger and step into more of a space of acceptance and gratitude so that they can begin to really accept love in their life and also give it.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing. And I
yeah,
love that you're coming from that approach because, you know, with the summit, we focus in on women entrepreneurs.
yeah,
And as women, we're everything, everything,
yeah.
and
Everything.
everything. And then I think sometimes when, get into the entrepreneur space, not only that, but people who may be watching, they could be in the C-suite, high executive level, but sometimes there's still that imbalance when it comes down to the relationships that they have. So it's like,
Yeah,
okay, we still know that we're still women, we're still bosses, we're still, the CEOs and the high executives, but we're
right,
also wives or girlfriends or
yeah,
moms and sisters and daughters and everything. And those relationships can go amiss.
mhm,
It can really, there's brokenness, there's so many things, but I love what you're doing because you're actually coming from a standpoint within, the life coaching that says, relationships is still valuable. We
mhm,
still need that wholeness and that connectivity because if I can connect well here within the family dynamic, then I can have and grow strong relationships within the workplace or
exactly,
within business and other CEOs
exactly.
networking.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so
yeah,
definitely. So tell me, like, how do you pull that together? I think you
yeah,
have like the pillars and how you serve others.
yes. So, um, yeah, I want to say a little bit about what you said about bringing that space into, how everything spills over, right, from one relationship to the other. So your work relationships do spill over to your home life, and your home does spill over sometimes to your work as well. And so it's important to distinguish the boundaries as well as the overflow of how that connects, right? And so, yes, one of the my 7 pillars that I've come up with that I think really support people by them understanding their awareness of where they stand in love, how they are in love, what is it that they appreciate about the way they love. Do they know the way they love? Do they know what they like? Do they know what they want? This whole self-awareness of is really super important to get a core beginning point, and so I always start with that. The rest I kind of I'm a little bit more flexible with, like, how and where do you feel you need the more points, and so I go over them. And so it's awareness, it's respect, communication, commitment, community, the way you give and receive, and then your strength. And so I think I listed them all there. I don't really like number them, but yeah, but that's all of them. I think the thing is with each single one, people know about respect, but what do you think it is? What is your definition? Because my definition may be different than yours. And the understanding of, oh, okay, so that's yours. Do you understand that some people for respect is this or respect is that? And they see it differently, right? And so, and the same thing with, some people don't know why is community in there? Well, because when you're a part of a community, anytime you step out your door, right? And so you get to figure out where you fall into that space. And the way that you do does come into like your relationships, whether that's you saying, oh no, I'm not a part of any community. Oh, so you don't go to work, you don't go out to the store, you don't consider yourself a local citizen or like a US citizen or whatever it is, like what you're not a part of any community, you're not a part of the, like for me, Latino community, you're not a part of the women community, you're not like let's think
Right.
about it. You are a part of a community. You may not know it, you may not accept it.
Mhm.
What is that about, right? Because there are sometimes blocks there. And if I remember, a client of mine, she had a block about accepting her nationality because her family said, no, when you're here, this is who you are, and this is what you're about now. And so you don't need anything to do with that anymore. That's not you, this is you.
Right.
And so it took her a long time to be like, no, but that is a part of me because she wanted it for her. But she was told she couldn't have it because it didn't exist. But everyone else could see that that's who she was. So she couldn't like distinguish the difference, right? And so it's like, well, why do you're old enough now. You can make your own decision. And sometimes we forget that we can make our own decisions and we empower others to have our voice and to speak for us. And then we lose our voice and we don't get to step into who we are and everything that we love about ourselves and actually getting to know more about who we are. And if that is something we want to cultivate, right? Because it could have been that, she was a certain type of nationality and decided, I don't want any part of that. That's not who I am. Okay, that's different. But she wanted a piece of that and she felt like she couldn't say it. Right. And so that's different. And then you begin to have this tug of war within your heart, which then spills over into your relationships. And so, and that's just a little bit about how the community does, right? And so there are all these different pillars. And so I'm not going to go through all of them on here, but those are the things that I kind of dive into with my clients.
Yeah, and they're so essential. I mean, y y the pillars that you listed is so essential to the core of just the human being, period.
Right.
When we are one thing I was thinking about was the Maslow hierarchy of needs. And everything that you listed really coincides with that whole hierarchy. Because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, there are those things that we need to stay connected. You know,
Absolutely.
we
Absolutely.
the community, you know, just
Mhm.
being able to say within yourself that you are good enough to embrace, that
Right.
you
To show
hold
up.
within yourself and to show up and
Mhm.
everything that you had mentioned. So that is really, really good that you deal with your clients in that way. And it also helps you to be, like you said, that self-awareness,
Mhm.
but it also brings out that opportunity for emotional intelligence,
Yes.
and the
Mhm.
balance of that and how you can intermingle and intertwine with others and build, great relationships no matter what the dynamic is. And
Absolutely.
how is that so serving? for us, even as human beings, and how we thrive in life. Because
Yes,
without
exactly.
that, we lose.
Yep, every time. We get to step into a space of where, we are empathetic, we do understand our emotions, and we do get to speak on them. But that doesn't mean that, we're gonna always show up without showing anger, without showing, compassion, without being sad, without crying in the workplace, right? Like some of us do. We gotta hold it together and be like, okay, let me just go cry in the bathroom, come back and be like, this is right, this is wrong, or whatever, right? And it's unfortunate that crying is seen as a form of weakness when in actuality it's just a form of passion, of being so excited or passionate about what you're saying that it's just overwhelming, right? However, I will say that as you learn to hold your space and hold your boundaries and stand in your confidence, you don't feel the need to cry as much because you have learned how to control your emotions so that the words come out the way that they're supposed to, without just like this frustration or overwhelm of tears and whatever it may be, right? Because essentially, like, we show tears for various different reasons. It could be out of fear, it could be out of anger, it could be out of happiness. And you know uh, it hurts me when I'm like, oh, don't make her cry. I'm like, well, maybe she needs to cry. you know but it's like, here's the thing is, we get to learn how to um hold our space and our confidence well enough that we can then speak without feeling like, we're being attacked or that we're not being heard. Because I know that's a lot of times why, some women and maybe even men really do, go through those emotions when they're passionate about what they're speaking on, right? And so it's really important that we recognize that when it's happening, learn to take a deep breath, clear your mind, and say, okay, what is it that I'm trying to say? Why am I feeling this? And it happens so quick. But once you get in the habit of learning how to do that, then when it happens, you're able to say, this is what I mean. This is what I'm saying. This is how I feel. This is why this is. And you can go through it, right? Instead of just like letting it all out and being like, nothing was done except me wiping my tears at the end. you know, like I want to feel accomplished when I'm done having this conversation. So let me get myself together real quick. Maybe you step away and be like, I'm going to be right back. And you come back and then you have the conversation, right? Get your thoughts together and then come back and have that conversation.
Yeah, and that's so powerful because a lot of times you have to be emotionally aware to be able to say, you know what, I need to take a step back. And sometimes
Mhm.
people, you can get into the
They'll
rhythm
come
of
after
the
you.
emotions and they're ready to be like, look, I'm not there, you know. But then when you're able to sit there and say, okay, you know what, let me just step back for a second, think about it, and
Mhm.
then respond. That could be verbal, that could be within written communication, that could be in anything, because you want to have a clear sense of what you're thinking. You want to
Absolutely.
process those feelings.
Mhm.
And it's a way that you still come out on the greater side of it when you're
Right.
doing that, because there's a level of respect, there's a level of
Exactly.
compassion that comes forth, there's a level of empathy, and then there's a,
Mhm.
a way of dismantling whatever that could come out of, an
Exactly.
abrupt response or anything like that. But those are the things that you do to build relationships,
Correct. Yes.
to
Yeah.
keep
And
relationships.
yeah, and like you said earlier about the respect, like is really key. Sometimes people can come after you and say, "No, we might need to talk about this right now. This is important right now. We don't have 5 more minutes to figure this out." Okay, I understand that. But no one's going to die if I take 5 minutes to just get myself together. I can see that your emotions are rising, my emotions have risen, and we just need to take a breath. And
Mm.
it's okay to say that, and they may be like, no, 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 this is when we need to do it. Okay. Um, I'm going to let you know right now that this isn't the way. We're not going to accomplish things when we're in high emotions. So it's been a proven fact that people, make when they make rash decisions when they're in high emotional states, it doesn't necessarily always turn out to the best of the advantage for everybody, because not everything has been thought through, and some things were just spent on instant emotion. And that's not always correct, right?
Right.
And so we get to say, okay, I can see where you're coming from. I need to take a break from this for a moment. Let's come back in 5 minutes. Let's come back in 2 minutes, however long minutes you need, to just be like, okay, you know what? We'll talk. We'll table this. We've got another meeting coming up in 5 minutes. Tomorrow we'll start here, right?
Mhm.
And then you can make a list. And
Mhm.
so, it does, and you can do that with your partner. Some people say, oh, that's only in the business setting. No, that really is in life. Like, you're talking to your mom, you're talking to your sister, you're talking to your best friend, and you can say, okay, you know what? Not right now. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. Let's finish this evening. Let's, finish, especially like right now in the holidays, right? Probably a lot of people have these altercations, like little moments
Mhm.
where it's like, "Ugh, I'm just going to go." But then you get to come back. That's the important thing. Like, don't forget to come back and communicate
Mhm.
what happened and how you can work and grow from that. Because a lot of us, sometimes we just have these spats and then we say we're not going to talk about it till later. Later never comes, and then that spat is still there. That hurt, that moment that happened mattered enough for your both of your emotions or one of your emotions to rise, and then you don't deal with it, and then what happens is it starts to cut down the foundation of that relationship, and the respect level, and all of these pillars start to come down. So instead of having like a stronghold on, being able to hold this space up, you've got pieces that are crumbling because you didn't talk about the conversation that needed to be talked about. But previously, neither one of you was really willing to bring it up because you wanted to keep the peace, and it doesn't actually ends up breaking it down slowly. And so it's important that when something is discussed and someone brings it up, that it's talked about. And maybe they say, well, I'm still not ready to talk about it. Okay, well, how long are you willing to wait? Months, years, to have that conversation?
Mhm.
And some of us are very patient, and some of us are like, you know what, if you're not going to be willing to talk about this is a really important thing in my life, I'm not going to continue, right? If you're saying to me that I can't go to Mexico because my family lives there and you're not comfortable being there, and that's a big thing for me, and we're not willing to talk about it, then maybe this isn't the place where I need to be, you know
That's so amazing. And before we close out, I know that you have
Mhm.
2 roadmaps. I would love for you to
Yes.
talk about the 2 roadmaps that people can actually work with you or have access to.
Yeah, yeah. So the roadmaps, what I do is I create this. So one is a handbook that I basically help cultivate with my clients. And we go through the 7 steps of the 7 pillars, and we speak about how they are in their life with these pillars and where they stand and what their understanding is. And so while it is a workbook you can work alongside by yourself, I strongly suggest that you work with a coach like me to help you through that, so that you're journaling, you're working, doing like work prompts basically to help you figure out how to become stronger and how to understand better and how to grow into a space. And from the experiences that I've gained through not only what I've learned in life, but workshops and trainings and things that classes I took in college, and all these various different ways that I have gained it. And then what I for the beginning of the year, what I did for a low roadmap was help people create like a binder. Basically, we set our calendar for all of these great business events that we have coming up, or these key family moments, but do we schedule in a time to maybe go on a hike with a best friend, or a movie that we really wanted to see that's coming out, or a concert, or maybe we've always wanted to see, um I don't know, Miami, and we've never been, whatever, some place that we've wanted to go. Or maybe it's just a matter of, I want my environment to look better, because one of the key things that I talk about is you've got to be good with yourself, good with others, and good with your environment. And so all those 3 things matter to help bring you into a space of peace and love within yourself. And so that binder really is for you to put in ideas, for you to put in your dates of when I'm going to do these things. For example, let's say you have a very busy schedule. You don't know when you're going to have the next weekend off, but you know you really want to go see this movie in March. Okay, so know that you're gonna see that movie in March. Your friend calls you up and says, "Hey, I have some free time." Turns out you do too that same day. Guess what? I know I wanna see this movie. Guess what? Now I know what to do. Now I can tell my friend, I know what I want to do. Or you know what I mean? So you already have, I wanna make this recipe. How about you come over for dinner and you like do the recipe with me, or we can do this together, or so write down a list of things that you love that help bring that light in you out so that you can share it with others, and schedule it in. If you can schedule it in your calendar, schedule it in your calendar. If you don't know but you know what you want to do, have that with you. So that way when people ask you what do you want to do, you already know what you want to do to bring out that love and light in your life for the rest of the year because you made a list, right? And so whether it's meditating, whether it's spending more time, 30 minutes a day, you can make it however specific you want, but it's key to, the more specific you are about what you want to do and how you want to do it, the less brain power it's going to take when someone asks you, what do I want to do? It's already going to be ready to go. I mean, how great would it be if you be like, I already got the plane ticket, I already got this, I already got that, I already got that, and this is where I'm going, you're welcome to come along. And then if they say, great, I can, and they just come along with you, how great for both of you not to have to plan that, right? You already have it set.
That's so amazing. I love that. I love that. And people, you're watching. I hope that you are getting a lot of great information and the roadmaps, the handbook, things that you can actually have. You could create a binder and really
Yes.
navigate this process yourself. But like Angelica
Mhm.
said, you want to work with a life coach.
Yes.
And since we have Angelica right here, you've already heard from her. You already hear what she's talking about. So we're going to make sure that her contact information is in the show notes. So I want you to connect with Angelica and help you to get on that right track emotionally, in relationships, build that self-awareness. The self-awareness comes self-confidence, it comes to self-love and everything. And when you're in that wholeness state in your life, it makes it easier for everyone around you to feel, the fruits of that. So, Angelica, thank you so much. Real quick, what is your Instagram that people can connect with you like right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram is Awaken with Angelica. So that's Awaken, the whole word with spelled out, and Angelica, Angelica. And you can find me there. Also, if you just hashtag Awaken your love, I usually come up on that too. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank
yeah.
you so much, Angelica, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I just can't wait to,
Thank you for having me.
you're so welcome. You're so welcome. I can't wait for to see what's going to happen and how people, start flocking towards you because you have a great
Yeah.
message. And I love like once again, everybody, what I just said, make sure you connect with Angelica. Like we're in the top of the year. We're in the
Yeah.
beginning of the year. And right now is the time that everybody's setting the whole new year, new you. You're doing a reset, you're refreshing your mind, your body, your spirit, and everything there is. So this is a great opportunity to go ahead and get that life coach,
Yes. Get
get with
that core in
Angelica,
there.
and let her seal it all up for you and get you on your way. So once again, thank you so much. And do want to let people know, just do a quick plug. We are coming back with Biz Her Way Summit 2025, October. It's
Woo.
going to be the month, so definitely keep up with us. We have a lot of great things we're putting out this year. So the dates are the 23rd and the 24th. And I want y'all to just get with us, Biz Her Way Summit or bizherwaysummit.com. And yeah, so everything is great. So once again,
Fabulous.
thank you so much. All
Absolutely.
right,
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
you too. Bye bye.